welcome to another episode of the Bottom of the Stream movie show. My name is Adam.
My name is Nick. Welcome back to the world famous Bottom of the Stream podcast. Every week we set sail on our stream boat.
We do.
And we are searching the Netflix stream, trying to find some hidden gems lurking down there at the bottom.
Yeah, see if there's anything for you people to go out and watch.
Yeah.
We've been relatively successful recently.
I should say so.
This week, though, is a wildcard week.
It is.
Second wildcard week in a row.
Yeah, and the final wild card played this season.
At the end of this episode, we will know who has won the season 9 wildcard race.
We will.
Who's winning it currently?
I think it's yourself.
I think it is. So yeah, we'll know at the end of this episode if Ross has managed to beat me, unlike everybody else. And because Ross has picked this movie, Ross has picked a movie called Sextuplets. Sextuplets was released in 2019.
Yeah.
It's a 12. It runs for 1 hour and 37 minutes. And it's currently rated at 4.5 out of 10 on IMDb. 4.5 out of 10?
I would say it is a sad indictment of the IMDb rating system when Sextuplets is only 2 points lower than To the Bone, which we watched last week.
Yeah.
Which, let me just remind you, is a very serious film about anorexia.
Yeah.
And this week, we're watching this.
Yeah. Which we'll get into it. This film stars a guy called Marlon Wayans. He plays a character called Alan. He also plays a character called Russell. He also plays a character called Dawn. He also plays a character called Jasper. And he also plays a character called Ethan. And Baby Pete. And I think there's one more.
Mum.
Oh, yeah. The reveal at the end. I can't give you any other cast members because fucking aren't any. He plays everybody. Written by Mike Glock, which I'm pretty sure isn't a real name. It sounds like Mike Cock. Rick Alvarez and Marlon Wayans. And it's directed by Michael Tiddies, which again, not sure that's a real name either.
His friends call him Big.
If you've seen any of Marlon Wayans' work, you will know all of those people. All they do is just make stuff together.
Oh, look, power to them. It's a good living.
It is. I've got a confirmed budget for this movie, Nick.
Okay.
What do you think? Bearing in mind there's only one actor in it.
Okay. I am going to say $20 million.
More.
Really?
Yeah.
$30 million.
$32 million confirmed budget. We don't get confirmed budgets very often. It's usually estimated, but this one is... where did that money go?
How... Was Marlon Wayans on percentage points?
When you play every role in a film...
Where did it go?
I don't know. I've genuinely got no idea.
There's a car chase.
Yeah, they break a barn.
You have to shut a few roads and crash a few cars.
When you play every role in a movie, do you get paid the same as if a different actor had been cast? Do you get paid all of those salaries?
I thought you're agreeing a flat rate, either a flat rate or a...
Would you imagine
guessing
it
this
being...
didn't set the box office alight. So.
Would you imagine it being more than you would normally get?
Well,
you've got to do a lot more work.
Yes, but he's also getting writer money and producer money. So, is he paying himself?
Because he's filming some of these scenes. He's refilming 6 times.
Yeah, maybe is that where the budget went? Because it's
because they're going to be using
in planning and the time spent in makeup and
true. I'm not going to say many good things about this movie. I'm going to reveal that quite early on, but it's the way they cut it all together and make him act against himself does not look too bad in most of the scenes. Does that make sense? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But, and also, in terms of pure logistics and effort, this Marlon Wayans has to work hard on this movie.
Yes, I think that's what I was getting at. And it looks...
he has not phoned this in.
No.
In terms of... He's committed to the bit, isn't he?
Yes, 100%. Because if he isn't, then this movie doesn't exist. Because he's the only person... He's not the only person in it, but he might as well be.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the logistics. And the look of it, where he's acting against himself, it doesn't look too bad.
No.
There's one scene where I was like, oh, that looked a bit CGI-y.
Okay.
But other than that, I thought it looked fine. That might be the last positive thing I say. Let's move on. Do you have a one-word review of Sextuplets?
6 bomb.
6 bomb. Nice. And where does this movie start, Nick? Let's get to it.
A picturesque town.
It is indeed a picturesque town.
In sort of just, I don't know.
Middle America.
Rich
folk
middle
America.
But rich
somewhere.
America. And Alan and wife are, who we learn in a couple of scenes' time is named Marie, are just leaving a prenatal class.
Yes, the wife character is probably the biggest character in the film that isn't played by Marlon Wayans.
Yes.
Just point that out there.
Marie is pregnant.
Yep.
And is about to begin her maternity leave.
Yes, she's just about to finish work. I think she's going back to finish work. Back to work to finish work.
And Alan, played by Marlon Wayans, they have a conversation, and she is sort of reminding him to go back to work and be. He's got a boss who everyone seems to be afraid of.
Yeah.
And she's saying, "Look, you need to go and tell her that you're taking paternity leave.
Yeah,
don't take no for an answer."
So he does. Alan goes to visit his boss. His boss is called Linda. She's also not played by Marlon Wayans, but she's only in 2 scenes. He does need some paternity leave.
She's played by Molly Shannon, who you will recognise from various other things, but I couldn't put. I couldn't name right now.
And he does, and she's like this. She's very flirty, his boss, and she tells him it's not really a good time because he's supposed to be going for partner in whatever this firm is that they do.
It's fair to say she's not a baby person.
No, she's definitely not a baby person. She doesn't understand why people want babies. She mocks him quite heavily. She does lots of impressions of him.
She's like, "You're not a man. You want time off. You weak." Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Or while she's drinking scotch.
Yeah. I'm also going to make quite a scathing statement here that I didn't make many notes on this movie because I just didn't care enough. So then we cut to the 35-week baby scan.
Sure.
The pair of them have gone to this scan, and the nurse is trying to get some family history from them both.
Yeah,
they feel like it's a bit late.
They have the ultrasound; it's all good.
Yeah,
no worries there. And yeah, it does seem a bit late. If there was any concerns,
imminent baby coming mode. Imminent baby coming mode. That's what they call the 35 weeks. And it's revealed to us at this point and to the nurse that Alan has no family history. He was adopted.
Didn't know his parents.
He didn't know his birth mother or father. He was adopted and he's grown up as an only child. So he can't tell the nurse his family history.
Yeah.
So they go home. They obviously live in a massive house because movies.
I don't know if it's their house or her parents' house. It doesn't matter.
No, they went to her parents' house later on.
Oh, okay.
They go to her house because I've written, again, another massive house.
Yeah.
They go to their house. It's this huge mansion type thing that everybody in. It's definitely in Bottom of the Stream movies. Everybody lives in massive houses. And Alan's having a bit of a whinge about not knowing his family history. It's kind of hit home to him a little bit that he doesn't know if he's got diabetes in the family or any like.
What's that? And obviously they're having a baby. He's like, I feel like I should share that with
with my family.
Having your mum becoming a grandma and all that sort of stuff.
It reveals he's never tried to track down his parents or his birth family.
Yeah. No, he says he's tried, but it's come to like a dead end every time. Trying to find birth certificates and what have you.
And Marie, was his wife called Marie?
Yeah.
She reveals that her dad is a judge.
She reveals to us. I presume he already
knew. I assume he already knew. And that he could help Alan out.
Yeah, this is like the first... But it's like... It is weird because it's like...
Why has she never
We're
said this
watching
before?
them having this conversation for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, yeah, why didn't we think of that before?
Yeah. But Alan's worried because the judge doesn't really like Alan.
No.
He's never approved of the marriage. They are married. He's never approved of the marriage.
And he doesn't want to owe his father-in-law anything,
favour,
basically.
So then they go to her parents' even bigger house, which is what my note says, so we know they've been to two houses. And there's a surprise baby shower being held.
There is.
Which neither of them knew about. And we meet Alan's friend, Doug, for the first time.
Yeah.
Or colleague.
I would say.
He's got this Russian girlfriend. They make a joke about Russians stealing. And then he goes to talk to her dad. He doesn't, Alan's... I don't know the dad's name.
No,
Judge.
I've just put father-in-law.
I've just put the judge. He doesn't make any bones about the fact that he doesn't like Alan.
No, he's like...
He doesn't hide it at all.
You know, the fact that Alan's from sort of low stock.
Yes.
Compared to Marie.
Yeah, because the judge says the family is everything to this judge, and Alan doesn't have a family, so that makes him look down on him. He virtually says that to him.
Yeah.
So Alan asks him, he does ask him to unseal his adoption papers.
Yeah, he says, I need a court order to get access to some of these records.
Which you can do.
Yeah.
And it turns out he can do very quickly.
Yeah.
because it's less than half an hour later, according to the dialogue in this movie.
The
That
baby shower was over quickly.
the papers are there
In
the
Alan
house.
and Marie's living room.
Yes, they have them. The baby shower's over now,
Yeah.
and they do say this, I only asked him half an hour ago.
Yeah.
This baby shower was in full swing, and now they're in their room opening gifts and have these papers. And it has his birth certificate inside, which also has his mum's address on for some reason. And he's then debating, well, should I go and meet my mum?
Yeah, and it's got a name.
Yeah.
And her name is Lynette Spellman.
Yes. And that's the first time he's ever known that. So he gets a bit excited. He doesn't quite know what to do.
Well, he talks to Marie about like,
Yeah.
he goes into a sort of monologue about, maybe she owns a shop, she a
Yeah.
florist, she could, is she a millionaire? Imagining all these various scenarios.
So pretty much straight away, he gets in his car.
He decides, I'm
I'm
going to
going to go and try
Road
and find
trip.
the house
I'm
isn't
gonna-
that far away, I don't
Yeah.
think. I'm going to go and track her down. So he goes he goes over to this house, another big house, a bit more rundown than the other
Yes.
two.
It seems to be that he's both miles away from home and not very far away.
Yeah, I got the
when
impression
movie
this wasn't that.
requires it.
Yeah.
Because there is a bit of a road trip type montage
Yes.
as he's travelling. Because he's trying to like practice his patter, isn't he, of introducing
Yeah.
introducing.
I got
himself
the
to it.
impression the mother didn't live that far away from him,
Yeah,
but everybody else in the family does live quite a long way away.
yeah,
So because this movie's basically a road trip movie.
yeah.
He knocks on the door, and what I've written is an angry man answers the door who's waiting for
got
the
like
postman.
A peephole shutter in
It
the
has
door,
got
in this
like-
house door.
Yes, like you see in like medieval movies.
Yeah. And I just put an angry Mork and Mindy fan turns him away.
Basically, yeah, this man's waiting for the postman. Thought Alan was the postman.
Yeah.
He isn't. And he's waiting for a cassette of Mork and Mindy. Because, yeah, why not? And this is Russell. We meet Russell for the first time.
He says, I've never heard of what's his name, Lynette Spellman.
Yeah,
And Alan says, well, the name's on the postbox here.
yeah.
And Russell says, yeah, okay, you got me.
You got me. I was lying. And it becomes obvious through this conversation that these two are brothers.
Yes.
Both also played by Marlon Wayans, I should point out.
Yeah, so Russell eventually opens the door, and this is Marlon Wayans in a fat suit
Yeah.
with the balding hair.
Yeah, this is a man in his late 30s who still lives with his mother
Yeah.
and just watches Mork and Mindy on TV all the day in a
And
tracksuit.
what are his defining features? Just to give you an idea of the comedy in this movie. He has a lisp.
Yep,
He is fat.
yep,
He is a nerd.
yep.
And he talks out the side of his mouth.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that's really funny.
Yeah, hilarious.
It's Marlon. Alan tells Russell why he's there.
Yeah.
And it becomes clear quite early on that they were born on the same day,
Yeah.
which makes them
They're
twins.
twins.
Um,
Russell blurts out that Lynette is dead.
Yeah, he invites him into the house and then says, unfortunately,
Something
Mum's
like she
dead.
was crushed trying to fix a car. Or
She,
something.
yeah, died in a car. She was crushed by two cars,
Yeah.
something like that. So Russell's like, he wants to get Alan out of the house. He's not
Yeah.
interested in knowing his
No.
brother. He just tells him to go home and start mourning, which I thought was an interesting way to put it. But he doesn't. Alan doesn't. He sticks around. He's like, have you at least got any pictures of her? I can see what she looked like. I've never met this woman. And he does. He shows him some pictures. And he offers him a sour gobstopper type
Yeah.
sweet, which he breaks his tooth. Alan breaks his tooth on.
Yeah, and it's there.
Because
so-
Alan's turned goofy as well now.
Yeah,
for
he
some
breaks
reason.
his tooth on, and Russell is there because he talks outside of his mouth to just drool. The alleged funny bit is because he drools everywhere when he eats this gobstopper,
Yeah.
and they're all like slurping and making sour faces.
Yeah. And the whole movie happens because of this moment.
Yeah,
Because Alan obviously spits the gobstopper out and it goes down a vent in the floor.
Yeah.
And he opens the vent in the floor while Russell's left the room for
because his
some
tooth's
reason.
still in the gobstopper.
And he finds a
Lockbox.
lockbox underneath the floor, which contains the family medical records. And it turns out that they're not twins.
No.
They are sextuplets.
They are.
That's the name of the movie. There are 6 members of this family.
There's also a newspaper article in the lockbox which just says local woman gives birth to sextuplets.
Yes. Imaginative headline.
Hmm.
Russell was not aware of this
No.
fact of his life. And they marvel over this for a little while, I guess.
Yeah.
They're intrigued by it. Alan calls his wife, checks in on her a little bit.
And he says,
I think some time passed here.
I don't know.
It
He's
felt like it did.
because he sort of catches her up and says, okay, I've already started making some
Yeah,
calls.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It felt like some time had passed.
Because he says, you don't believe it, we're sextuplets, and he says there's Dawn, Ethan, Jasper, Russell, baby Pete,
That's his legal
Yeah.
name.
and me. He says I've already got an address for Dawn. I've looked
Yeah.
for her. I've got something on her, and he says I can't find anything on Ethan and Jasper.
Yes. So I think he tasks her with doing some
Yeah,
research.
can you
and-
help me out?
Can you help me out? See what you can find. So he takes Russell on a road. They decide to go on a road trip together.
Yeah. So
To meet Dawn.
Alan's gone back to his motel at this point, and Russell shows up at the door and
Yes.
says, "I want to come with you."
Yeah.
You know,
Well, he wasn't at the door. He was in the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
He showed up in the
Oh, they were
bathroom,
already
didn't he?
there.
Yeah.
Right.
No, Alan didn't know he was there.
Oh, okay.
Russell had just stowawayed and somehow got into his bathroom. So they decide to road trip together. But to do that, for some reason, before they start their road trip, they need to stay in a motel together.
I presume Alan had just booked that, but I don't know. Yeah, why didn't
Why
he just
didn't they just
stay in
stay
the
at the
house?
house?
Yeah, good point. Maybe they'd already started driving, and it was.
But he didn't know Russell was there.
No, it doesn't make sense.
None of this fucking movie makes sense. So then there's a joke about them having to share a bed together.
And Russell gets in naked. And remember, he's fat and
Yeah.
sweaty, and
And then he tells him to put some pajamas on, which he does. He's for some reason got some pajamas with him, even
Yeah.
though he sleeps naked. And then he's like, Russell starts jumping on the bed.
Yeah.
And then Alan joins in
well, he
because,
says to Alan, "Well,
we never
come
got
on,
to
we've
do this
never-
as kids."
Yeah, exactly.
and obviously these are two grown adults and one's quite large, and they break the bed.
Yeah. And then Russell says, "Can we have a pillow fight? I've never done that either."
Yeah.
And that quickly turns into a quite violent exchange.
Yes.
At which Russell delivers a knockout blow to Alan, and we've suddenly got this movie goes cartoony where
Yeah.
Alan gets thrown
Throws backwards through the room
through
and through a
like the
plasterboard
Hulk
wall.
has pillow fought him, and he goes through the wall.
Yeah, well, that was the joke, wasn't it? Because this guy's fat.
Yeah.
He must be strong because he's fat. Next morning, we cut to next morning. For somehow they managed to sleep in this broken bed,
Yeah.
broken walled bedroom. But we cut to the next morning.
Back on the road.
And the road trip starts, yeah. So they decide to try and get to know each other. They talk about their favourite TV shows.
Yep.
Um,
They find that they've got some things in common, so they both hate avocado.
yes,
They both like Different Strokes
the TV show Different Strokes.
and the Rockford Files.
Yes. And so then they do this thing where they sing the Different Strokes theme tune together,
Yeah.
and that seems to be the thing that bonds them for life now. These two are like best mates. And then they start singing something else that makes Russell fall asleep. Was it the Rockford Files theme tune? It was something that made Russell
Yeah.
fall asleep.
Again,
It was the MASH theme tune.
Yeah, MASH theme tune made him fall
and he
asleep.
falls asleep with his head out the window
And
like
again,
a dog,
dribbling
everywhere.
Yeah.
Later on, it's dark.
They drive all night. All
Yeah,
day.
all day.
All day.
Yeah,
Until
to the-
nightfall.
Yeah, it's dark. Russell's still asleep, and Alan wakes him up because it's his turn to drive.
Russell says, I can't drive.
I can't drive.
Never learn.
Never learned to drive. So instead of him taking over to drive, they decide to pull over.
It's parked in a field.
Just pulls over to a random field
Yeah.
with a cattle grid. So as soon as I saw that cattle grid, I was like, "Well, this is obvious where this is going." He pulls over into a field, and they get some sleep. They both hunker down for the night and fall asleep in the car. And they wake up the next morning. So we're on like day 3 of this road trip already.
Yeah.
They wake up the next morning. Russell's not there.
No, Alan's alone in the car.
Yeah. So he gets out. He starts shouting Russell's name to find out where he is. And Russell comes running back across this field, doing his trousers up.
Yeah.
And he's being chased by a massive bull in a joke
Well,
that nobody
we
saw
don't
coming.
see the bull yet.
Not yet,
But Russell is clearly shouting, "Bull, bull, move!"
Yeah.
And Alan's just now got to be completely stupid for the requirements of this movie, and he's
Yeah.
like, "What? What? You
what?
saying?
What? Can't hear you. What?
And then yes,
A massive bull comes running out.
huge CGI bull
Yeah.
follows Russell.
Russell gets into the car but leaves Alan on the outside, locks himself in,
Yeah,
and he manages to get out of the way just as the bull
gores the side of the car.
He gets around the other side, the bull gores the other side of the car, and eventually they both get in and they drive off. And
Well, Russell drives, but
Russell
he
drives,
doesn't
but he doesn't know how to drive,
Yeah,
so
this
he's
is his impromptu
driving
driving
lesson.
lesson.
So he basically drives in loops around this field. The bull's chasing them.
They end up jumping through a barn
Yeah,
somehow.
but-
They launch into the
It's
air.
like I've written here they crash through a barn which must have had a ramp inside because they go on the floor and they come out the top floor. Fuck knows how. And it's revealed during this, right? Because Alan says, why is the bull chasing you? What did you do to it? And he's got Russell's got this thing for cereal.
Oh, yeah, he loves cereal.
He loves breakfast cereal. He's like, I tried to milk it through its teat.
Yeah.
And it's a bull. So it's basically wanked off a bull. And that's why it's pissed off. Then they drive to Alabama.
Yeah, they got the address for Dawn.
They know Dawn lives in Alabama. We don't know where. I don't think we know where they started, which would have helped
Yes.
because we're told where everybody else lives.
We've got no geographical reference.
But they get to Alabama and they turn up at Dawn's big house because it says she lives in a big house, but she doesn't live in a big house. She lives in the big house. She's in prison. So they go to the prison, and they meet Dawn for the first time.
And Dawn again is another unit.
Yes, she's a big old unit.
Yeah.
She's in prison. She's kind of in charge of this prison. She's like the boss lady of this woman's prison.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of respects her.
Oh, played by Marlon Wayans.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Sorry, we didn't mention that. Basically, they have the same conversation that him and Russell had.
Yeah.
Where
she's in prison for fighting.
She's in family. Yeah.
It's not her first time in prison.
You're one of 6. She didn't seem at all surprised by the fact that she was a sextuplet. And eventually, she gets quite angry that he didn't bring her any fags or smokes, as she calls them. And then Russell has. He's got some hidden in his
butt cheeks.
Then
Russell gets his hand stuck in a vending machine trying to get some cereal
because he's fat. And it's revealed he calls her a stripper, and she's like, "I'm not a stripper, I'm an exotic dancer." And she gets really annoyed that he called her a stripper.
and she does all this. She dances in the middle of the break room in the prison, doesn't she? She's like plie, ass on face. That's what she says. That's how she dances.
Yeah. And Alan then tells Dawn that she's going to be an auntie because
she's really happy.
She's quite happy about that. And she's like, "Oh, you need to get me out of here. You need to pay my bail money."
Yeah.
It's only 10 grand. Get me out. She's in prison. I mean, is bail money still a thing?
I'm not sure it is.
I was wondering all the way through this, what would happen if I just stopped watching it?
Well, the world would have continued to spin.
Yeah, but how would this episode have worked? Because it's never happened on the show. I was just going to not tell you and just go, and this is the point I turned it off, over to you.
We would have been fine.
I'm sure we would.
As long as
but I didn't. I stuck to the end.
As long as one of us gets to the end.
No, I'm proud of myself.
You owe it to your
I would never turn
audience.
one off. I don't think I've ever turned a movie off. No, I have. That's not true. But I've never walked out of a cinema. But it takes a lot for me to turn a movie off, and I wouldn't do it for the show. If I was going to do it, this would have been the day. The guards then discover the contraband cigarettes, and Alan gets carried away by a guard. He gets taken into women's prison, and Dawn gets carried away as well. And then he's suddenly outside. That's not an issue.
No, they're back outside. Outside the front gates.
I'm pretty sure what happens here is Alan calls his wife and says, "I need to pay this 10 grand bail money."
I put Alan calls Marie, and then I've put he may have paid the 10 grand.
I thought he was asking her permission to pay it.
Yeah.
And she eventually argues with him about it because she doesn't know these people, but eventually she says fine, and then instantly Dawn comes out.
I thought he was kind of trying to say that he might have paid
maybe
already,
but he was asking.
It wasn't clear.
He was asking permission for something he'd already done. Maybe.
Marie tells him that she's found a bit of a trail on Jasper,
but there's no response from him.
No, she's found that he went to Oxford University and then MIT.
Yeah.
But then the trail's gone cold.
Yes. And that she also wants him to come home now.
Yeah.
She's like, she was supportive of this at the beginning, but she's had enough now.
Yeah, it's been like 4 days now.
Yeah, she thought he was just going to this woman's house. And then Dawn pops out of the prison. Somebody's paid a bail money for her. And she dives on him to thank him.
Yeah.
Which is one of these things where I thought, that's quite good how they've done that, because that's both the same person.
Yeah.
And she's managed to dive on him. It's quite impressive. Then we cut away from Alan and Russell and Dawn.
Yeah.
And we meet a new guy.
I wasn't expecting this turn.
No, nor me. So
some green shoes go to Alan's workplace.
Yeah, we go back to Alan's workplace where he works for TikTok Media, not that TikTok, but a different one. And yeah, somebody who looks remarkably like Marlon Wayans, goes into the office, talks to Doug, Alan's best mate.
Yeah, and all of Alan's white co-workers are stupid, and the joke here, I guess, is that they can't tell that this isn't Alan.
Yeah. Even though he has completely different dress sense, completely different hair.
He's got a grill.
Yeah. And
he's
talks completely different.
Yeah, and he's dressed like a pimp.
Yes. Even his best friend Doug doesn't spot this.
No.
Even when... This is Ethan, I'll reveal that now. Even when Ethan says he's never been there before, he doesn't know who the boss is or anything, Doug's still not buying this. And he wants to know where the money is.
Yeah, where's the money?
Where's the money? Where do you keep
Rich
the
place
money?
like this, where's the money?
Yeah. And then, so... It doesn't get his answers from Doug, so he walks out into
Well,
like
Doug
the...
says, "Go. You need to go and talk to Linda."
Yeah, so he walks out into like the... I guess like
Bullpen.
of this office, gets a little knife out of his pocket
Yeah.
and says, "Where's Linda's office?" And every single white person in the office points at Linda's office.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then he goes to Linda's office, and I was like, well, this is so weird. So he goes to Linda's office, he meets Linda, who also thinks it's Alan.
Yeah, and she just thinks he's got his attitude, and
Yeah.
she's happy because that's what she
That's
said
what
at the
she's always
start.
wanted,
Like,
yeah.
grow a pair, and
He asks her for an advance on his wages. And
she's like, "No, I don't do advance."
they start threatening each other,
Yeah.
which turns quite flirty,
Yeah.
and then she locks the door.
And he's like, "Oh, there's my raise."
Yeah. And then they
then-
start kissing,
yeah.
and then the scene cuts away. Meanwhile, back with Alan, Dawn, and Russell, they are at a gas station. They've stopped
At night.
at night time again.
Still travelling.
So we're what, day 4 now? They found out. How did they find out about Baby Pete?
Well, first, Dawn's coming onto some truck.
Oh yeah. She's like prostituting herself.
And Alan's on the phone to Marie, and I can't remember where the information comes in, but yeah, basically they find out that Baby Pete, his legal name,
Yeah.
is in a hospital
Yes. And
for which they have the address now, and he may only have a few days to live.
Yes, he's dying, and it's in Mississippi.
Right.
I don't know how far Mississippi is from Alabama.
I'm not sure.
So they all decide they need to go. They're going to go. The plan was to drop Dawn off,
Yeah.
take Russell home, and then go back home.
Yeah.
That was their plan. But now they've decided they all need to go to see Baby Pete because it might be the only time they ever get to meet.
Exactly.
So they're going to drive to Mississippi. Before they can do this, Russell gets out of the car and smashes a wing mirror off a dude's truck.
Yeah, it's the
Which
same.
is one of the dudes that
Yeah.
Dawn's been flirting with.
She ends up threatening them and
Yeah.
talking to them, and
And one of them
shouting
ends up
at them.
punching Alan in the face
Yeah.
and breaking his nose. And
And
then
then
Dawn
Dawn-
beats the crap out of both of them.
Well, yes, but just before that, Dawn does. The reason it made me laugh is she does a werewolf impression.
She does,
And I
yeah,
was
it made
like,
me laugh.
This
as
is
well.
actually the best werewolf we've seen on this show. Is Marlon Wayans in a fat suit pretending to be a werewolf,
Pretends to be a woman who's also
Yeah.
a werewolf.
and
Yeah, she starts sharpening her long nails on the floor and
Yeah.
stuff, didn't she?
yeah. So she beats
She
these
beats
truckers up.
she literally Superman throws one through her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Throws a shoe at one and knocks him out.
We then cut back to Ethan. Ethan's left Alan's workplace now and is now at his house.
Yeah.
He goes upstairs into Alan's bedroom. He's
Yeah.
still looking for money.
He finds and he sees some photos.
Does, yes.
So he
sees
knows
some
what
photos.
Alan
So he
looks
knows what
like.
Alan's looks like. So he goes into the bathroom
Mm-hmm.
and magically becomes Alan by taking off the Ethan wig
Yeah, he
and putting on some of Alan's
gives
costume.
himself a haircut.
Yeah,
he
he does.
says, "I'm going to take his identity and his bitch."
Yep. Alan's wife then comes home and she also mistakes him for Alan.
Yeah.
And I've put, to be fair, he's not wearing the Ethan costume anymore.
No, but he does talk like a
He does do-
1970s pimp.
Yes. And he's a dick. And he talks nothing like Alan.
And she's like, "Right, come on. Anyway, forget about all those minor changes.
Yeah.
We're
We need
going
to go
to be
the-
late. We've got a breastfeeding class."
Yeah.
So Ethan's like, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have."
Oh, it's insane. I've just Googled how far it is to Alabama to Mississippi, and the first thing that came up is Alabama to Mississippi flight. It's 2.5 hours drive,
Okay.
so not too bad. Because they're now in Mississippi. They've got to the hospital, our 3 characters.
Alan's nose is like mash.
Yes, and he sees it before he goes to see Baby Pete. He goes to see a doctor, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll sort your nose out, no problem."
And
he
they like
crack it back
crack
into
it and
place.
he screams.
Yeah. Then they go to meet Baby Pete. He's dying.
He's... I don't know how to describe this because
He's the runt of the litter.
movie doesn't even try.
No.
But he's basically a little man.
Yeah, he's a tiny little man.
Yeah.
It's basically what he is a tiny body, and Wayans' head's poking through the bed,
Yeah.
pretending to be this guy.
It's like Marlon Wayans' head on Hezbollah's body.
Yes, basically. He's the runt of the litter. He's always
Yeah.
been the ill one. He's always been sick. He's never grown like he should, and now he's dying of kidney failure. And lots of stuff goes on. Dawn and Russell talk to him as if they've known him their whole life, even though they've never met him
They've
before.
only been in the
either.
room 5 minutes longer
Yeah.
than Alan. They all work out that they're all ambidextrous.
Yes.
And they bond over that.
Yeah. And he needs a kidney. And obviously he can only have Alan's kidney. Then he needs Alan's kidney. Dawn needed 10 grand. He needs Alan's kidney.
Well, yeah, and he can't have Dawn's kidney because she's
Done too many drugs and
done too
drink
many
in-
drugs.
in her life.
And he can't have Russell's
'Cause he's too
kidney
fat.
because he's morbidly obese.
Yeah. So he needs Alan's kidney. Alan's not keen on this idea. He's never met this guy before. He's about to have a child of his own, so major surgery is probably not a good idea. And he can't risk his kid growing up without a father.
But Baby Pete says, I've only got 3 days to a week to live,
Yeah.
which is very specific.
3 days to a week. I'm all right for the next 2. It's fine. Then he goes to see Alan goes to see somebody to get his nose fixed. No, he has to sign some forms. The doctor comes in.
Yeah. He says,
He's
here's
like,
the
"Here's
consent forms to do your nose.
to do your nose. And coincidentally, Baby Pete's got the consent forms to do the kidney transplant
so
on
he
his bed.
switches them.
So he switches them without anybody noticing. So Alan signs the forms, expecting to get his nose done. What he's actually done is signed his kidney away.
At the breastfeeding class, Ethan and Maria are quickly thrown out
Yep,
from
because
his inappropriate behaviour.
he's trying to take pictures of boobs,
Yeah.
basically.
And at this point, Mauricio says, this isn't Alan.
Yeah, finally she figures out this is not my husband who I'm about to have a baby with.
So she goes to call the police because
Yeah.
she says straight away, "You're Ethan, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're either Ethan or Jasper, and
Yeah, you're
I
not
presume
Jasper.
you're not the one who went to Oxford University." And he says, "Don't call the police. I'm in a bad place." And then he gives her this story. I don't know if this is true or him just bullshitting. That he had a successful nail salon.
Yes.
That was his business of his dreams. It was going really well, but they were screwed by the landlord and it went bust.
Yeah, he lost his business and lost all of his money, and now he's broke.
And Marie says, I think this is the point where she announces she's a lawyer.
Yeah,
And obviously, we already know her dad is a judge.
yeah.
So she says, I can make some calls and we can sort that landlord out.
So she went from going to call the police on him to going to help him out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Alan's going into surgery. Just as he takes the anaesthetic and is about to go under, he figures out what's happened.
Yeah.
Because they start drawing on his chest to where his kidneys is. Kidneys is?
Pretty sure they're not in his chest.
No. So he figures out what's happened. He gets up and runs away, but he's obviously still under anaesthetic. So there's a comedy running scene down a corridor.
Yes, and he runs straight into a door
which is
as Russell is coming out of the vending machine room
because he's eating again.
with his arms full of cereal.
Yep. And he gets knocked unconscious. Meanwhile, back at the house, Ethan's painted the nursery.
Yeah, he's done a really cool
Done a nice
mural.
mural on the wall. And then
Marie's quite moved by
yeah,
this.
she loves it. Alan then wakes up and they have taken this guy's kidney.
But they have fixed his
But
nose.
they have also fixed his nose. They've done
so,
both.
win some, lose some.
Yeah, he didn't sign the consent forms for his nose, but they did fix both.
And he's like, he wakes up and Dawn and Russell are there, and he's like, "Where's Baby Pete?"
Yeah.
And this guy, and I'm sure this is not medically sound,
No.
has checked himself out of hospital already.
Yeah, already. Well,
New kidney.
so they told
see you
Alan that
later.
he'd got to go, he'd got to stay in for a week.
Yeah.
But Baby Pete's been allowed to leave the country.
Yeah, he's on a
He's
flight to
he's also
Havana.
fled the country for some reason.
Because apparently Baby Pete had already raised 200 grand through crowdfunding.
Yeah.
And he's gone to
Now
live
he's got
his
that
days
because he
out in
doesn't need
Havana
that.
on the beach.
Yeah. Also, Dawn's now cleared off with a car. She's left.
Oh, she leaves a note saying, I owe you one
car
car
and 10 grand.
grand.
And so Alan calls his wife, explains what's happened, that he's been conned out of a kidney, a car, and 10 grand now by this family. And she says, "Get your ass home. You need to come home."
She tells him to get his shit together.
She doesn't tell him Ethan's there.
No.
No. Russell is still at the hospital with him.
He says, Alan, these have been the best days I've had ever.
Yep.
I'm sticking with you, brother.
Yep.
And this is the point where Alan's like, standing in any of these movies. Alan's like, no, you're a loser.
Get away from me.
We're breaking up.
I never want to see
basically.
you again.
Yeah.
Russell has not done anything wrong.
No.
I felt quite sorry for him at this point. I was like, he's literally the only one that stood with you, and you've just been a dick to him.
Anyway, that's quickly put to an end when they are both abducted.
Yeah, they both suddenly get
And
kidnapped by a man in a
thrown
black
into
van.
a black van.
Hooded and thrown into a black van. And when the hoods get taken off, they're in Russell's house.
Yeah, I didn't clock at first that they were all the way back at Russell's
Yeah,
house.
somehow
but they are.
they've done that 2.5 hour drive in the back of the van. No,
Plus.
more than that.
Yeah, yeah.
The whole reverse of this whole road trip. And they're in Russell's house, and the guy in charge is being played by Marlon Wayans.
Oh, yeah, is it?
Yeah, in a ginger wig this time.
Yeah.
And some glasses, and he looks like a nerd.
Yeah.
This is Jasper.
Yeah.
The final one of the sextuplets to me.
And he starts monologuing. He says, look, you don't know how tough I had it. I've never met my mum, never given a hug. Yes, you may have had that as well, but I'm a black kid with light skin and ginger hair.
Yeah.
You don't know how tough it's been.
He's also a spy.
Yes. He says, I gather information on people and I do a bit of black ops.
Yes.
He doesn't exist.
But unfortunately, his cover's been blown because Alan's wife called the Pentagon 7 times to try and find out details on Jasper, which raised some red flags. So now he's going to torture them. He doesn't really explain why he's going to torture them.
Because he says, why have you blown my cover?
Yeah.
He doesn't believe the family thing. He's like, he's going to torture them.
Just for the sake of it.
Well, no, to find out. He doesn't believe that's why they're there.
Okay.
He thinks. I presume he thinks they're agents trying to take him down. Or
At this
whatever.
point, I had completely checked out. I'd almost got the
At what
timer
point
on.
did you check out? Just out of interest.
Just after the credits rolled at the beginning. I think maybe Baby Pete.
Okay.
I think I'd given up by that point.
Right.
The scene in the prison with Dawn wasn't that bad. So I think it was somewhere after that.
See, at the time you think it's bad, but then you look back at the movie and
comparison
you're
to
like,
the rest of the
actually,
movie,
yeah,
that was actually quite funny.
It wasn't that bad.
Not funny. Nothing in this movie's funny. I didn't break a smile once, let alone a laugh. Russell and Jasper, through chatting, find out that they're both fans of the Rockford Files.
Yeah, like obsessive fans.
Uber fans. And Alan says, Russell owns the manual for the car from the Rockford Files.
Yeah, and Jasper's like, I own the car. I've been trying to buy the manual from some loser
forever
who won't sell it to me.
And that's when the penny drops that the Russell is the dick. But they don't get angry about that. They just sing the theme tune together.
And Jasper does this weird dance.
Yep.
And he's not gonna torture them anymore. But then he just draws his gun.
Yeah, he pulls his gun out.
And he's just going to shoot them.
And as he pulls his gun out, an older lady comes into the house with a suitcase. This older lady, by the way, played by Marlon Wayans.
Oh, really?
And it's the mother. She's not dead after all.
No, she's back. And this is where I was like, oh, we're back at Russell's house.
They do say that. When they take the hoods off, Russell's like, I'm back it's my house. She's been on a cruise.
Yes, she has been on a cruise.
And also, doesn't seem that surprised that all this is happening in her house at the time.
No. She hugs Alan.
Yep, she does. They get reunited.
He is enveloped by her bosoms.
Bosoms, yes. He nearly chokes to death on her bosoms.
And Jasper's just standing in the background wailing.
Yes. Crying. Crying.
Psychotic breakdown.
And she tells him off. She's like, I can't believe you stood here holding a gun at my 2 sons. Alan says to Russell, why did you lie to me that my mother was dead when she's not? So this is the bad thing that Russell's done. And he says, I didn't want you to steal my mother away from me. And then they have.
But then he tells him, these have been the best days of my life.
Yeah, again, he says that again. And they have a moment together. They bond again.
We're bros.
And Alan gets a phone call to reveal that Marie has gone into labour.
She has.
So he needs to get there ASAP. I don't know how far away they are. Again, we don't know at this point how far away they are. So Jasper says, take my car.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Russell goes with him.
Russell's like, I'll
come with you.
I'll come with you. And Jasper's going to stay with and connect
Get
with
to know Mum.
Yeah.
But why didn't they all go? I don't know, but they didn't. And when they get outside
budgetary reasons.
Okay,
you'd need 35 million to do that.
Yeah, true. When they get outside to the car, guess what car it is?
I'd say, is it either a replica or it's the car from the Rockford Files?
It's the car from the Rockford Files. It's a gold something or other. I don't really know what the Rockford Files is.
It was
Budget
a detective. No, it was a detective show.
So Russell's like, this is the car of his dreams. Russell's like, I'll drive, even though he has no license and can't
Yeah.
drive.
But now he's an expert sort
Yeah.
of high-speed chase driver,
He
apparently.
dives over the bonnet like a detective in a
Yeah.
detective show would and falls on his ass. But they do. They drive to the hospital, and before they get there, the police start chasing them for some reason.
Yeah.
And they get to the hospital. They pull up at the. Well, they don't even pull up at the hospital. Russell slows down, and Alan dives out of the car.
He drops and rolls.
drives out of a moving car. And Russell, who can't drive, manages
No,
to.
but he did have the manual to the car.
He did have the
remember?
manual to the car. That is true, and he manages to get away from the cops. He does some cool maneuvers to get away from them, and Alan arrives just in time for the birth, and he meets Ethan for the first time.
Yeah, and in the background, the
Who's
police
also
are
there.
sort of roaming the hallways.
Yeah,
But yeah, Alan is shocked that Ethan's there.
And there's been a joke all the way through the movie that Alan doesn't think he looks like any of these people.
Yeah.
But all these people think he looks like them.
Yeah.
But then when he meets Ethan, he realizes he really, really does look like Ethan.
Because Ethan's changed himself
Yeah.
to look like Alan.
Yes, basically. Ethan then leaves them to it, and she goes and has the baby. And then the film cuts to 3 months later, and we're at a house party.
Yeah.
I presume they're just finishing the baby shower that they didn't finish earlier on.
I'm not really
I
sure.
don't know.
I think it's a welcome
3 month,
baby.
It
Welcome.
was 3 months later.
Yeah, I don't
Babies
know.
are old news by 3 months. And everybody's there. Marie's dad's there. The judge is there. All the family are there except for baby Pete. Dawn comes over and congratulates Alan on what he's done to get the family back together.
Oh, they all spit out avocado dip.
yeah, none of them like
and they're,
avocado.
dribbling avocado everywhere from their
Yeah.
mouths.
Yeah. Baby Pete's on a video call
Yeah.
from
Havana.
Havana on the beach.
And he's
somewhere.
drinking cocktails, and Alan's like, seriously, you've had a kidney. What are you
Yeah.
just drinking for?
Alan makes amends with Marie's father a little
It'd
bit.
be better if Baby Pete was there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it's Marlon Wayne's pushing his head through it. Unless he was like lying on the table, they wouldn't have been able to do it. This is why I don't understand where the budget went, because he was clearly just pushed his head through the hospital bed with a mannequin's body. They go and have a big family photo taken
Yeah.
to basically get a cast shot of everybody in this movie, and then the movie ends.
Oh, no, the only bit you've missed is that Alan kind of gets his favour back from the judge.
Does he?
Yeah, because Dawn's like all up in the judge's face, like, how dare you, why don't you like my brother?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
done all this for us,
I
blah,
remember
blah. And the judge basically reluctantly asks Alan for a favour to
Get rid of
let Dawn lay off him.
it. Okay, fair enough.
So they kind of reverse the scene from the start.
Got ya. And then-
Yeah, and they take the family picture and the whole thing's
the whole
over.
thing's over and done with. So he had like one hug from the mother that he was looking for. That was
Yeah.
the only time she was in the movie. Thoughts, Nick?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Come on then.
This is a terrible movie
Yes, it is. Yes.
that has little to no redeeming features about it.
Correct. Let's stop there. Because I can feel a book coming.
No, apart from what we've already mentioned, in that you've got to have a bit of respect for the amount of work and effort
Yes,
that's gone into
I
this.
do respect that.
And Marlon Wayans, like I say, committing to it. And it's awful in so many ways. But
I knew there was a book coming.
I genuinely, and I think as well, I will say, if people watch this and went, that's one of the worst movies I've ever seen,
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
But
Another book.
this is bottom of the stream,
Yeah.
and we have seen some absolutely irredeemable pieces of crap.
Yes. Agreed.
And this is not much above them,
No.
but it is
above
not
them.
right down there with the worst things we've seen. And that is the only positive thing I can say. And it's the only small surprise I had about this movie.
This film is offensive, but not as offensive as some of the movies we've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. This didn't make me angry or annoyed bad.
Yeah.
Like not a lot. Like some other things we've seen
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
I was
I think that's fair.
fairly ambivalent to it, if I'm honest.
I think that's fair.
But I never laughed.
I didn't even
I know.
smile.
No.
I didn't even
No.
crack a smile at any point in this movie. This is a dreadful movie.
It's really shit, but it's not
But is that because they've
completely
just
abysmal.
Is that just because they've not put any effort into it?
It's quite sanitized, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's not like there's no point in this movie like I don't know about the probably 5 to 10 instances in buddy games where I went, this is
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
This never gets there.
No, it doesn't. It's not like, it's not buddy games bad,
Yeah.
but it's bad in a completely different way. It's completely lackluster. The story's terrible. The characters are terrible.
It's not funny.
They're not even. It's not
There's no
funny.
laughs.
There's not. I didn't even crack a smile. It felt like the longest movie I've ever
They're
seen.
not even.
They're not even funny caricatures of real people.
No, when
They're
you
not-
think of what you could have done anything with this
Yeah.
this family of this sextuplets. They've not. It's very safe in a way,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's
Yeah.
sanitized.
It's so dull.
Yeah.
It's just like at no point
It's
did
not
I
really
care.
sweary or
No.
rude, is it?
No,
It's-
there's no like gross out movie. It's not a gross out comedy. It's not even. There's nothing.
Why
it's just
why is
there.
it?
Why is it? Why does it exist? Who is this movie for, Nick? Who's watching this?
And I think that's it for me. I didn't even get the hate watching
No.
out of it.
It's just boring. I felt like I'd been watching it for days when it finished. I paused at one point. I was only halfway through. I'm like, oh my god, I want to
I've
die.
got to say, I did check the time at one point. I still had like 45 minutes left.
I was
and
quite proud because I was
I
literally
surprised.
almost exactly to the second halfway through. I was like, oh, that's really cool. It almost matches. But no, there's nothing entertaining in it.
No,
Nothing at all. It's instantly forgettable. There's no...
that's the surprising thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
This isn't going to stick in my brain.
No, not at all.
Because me going into it, and respectfully, I think it's a fantastic choice by Ross because I've done this before as well. I know exactly what he's playing at. He has found a movie with the specific objective of wasting your time.
Yeah, and he has succeeded.
Because he knows that you will have sat watching this for an hour and a half, cursing him because you'd rather been doing anything else.
Literally anything.
And in my book, that makes this a fantastic choice. Because, let's be honest, we are that petty.
Yeah.
And
People seem to
that's
like
amusing.
wasting my time. I
Whereas-
know exactly why he's done it. This is like the antithesis of a me movie. This is the opposite of a me movie.
I was watching this as well, thinking, and more than once I had a chuckle because of the thought of you sitting on your sofa, grumbling to yourself watching this.
Do you know what's funny though? I was doing it as well because I know that Smileyton in our Discord is also going to watch it, and he will fucking hate it a lot more than I do. So I was like, there's a level here now. There's a hierarchy of hate watching going on here. Because I was watching it thinking, I'm getting something out of this because I know he's going to hate it.
So, if nothing else, this is why we love our little community
Because they pick on me.
we can bring each other together and just annoy each other.
What he has done though, I'm pretty sure he has done, is given me the wildcard race. for
This is
season,
true.
So we should thank him for
I would
that
say
also.
that you are not being challenged there. So I say thank you, Ross.
And I say fuck you, Ross.
I just, look, it wasn't quite as bad as I thought it would be,
It's dreadful.
but it's dreadful.
It's dreadful. It's not even. I don't like comedy movies. Films like Scary Movie, I don't like.
Yeah.
But this isn't even that. It doesn't even have that going for it, does it?
No.
Right. What's the best thing about it?
And then also, just before we move on, they're never all together.
Nope.
There's not a scene where all of them are together.
Hmm.
So we don't even get the family reunion.
No, even in the picture at the end, Baby Pete's not there.
Yeah.
He's on an iPad, zooming in.
Yeah, it's just
It's
like a
just-
total missed opportunity there to
Completely,
put
yeah.
them all together anyway.
What's the best thing about it?
Oh, good question. It's got to be the effort that Marlon Wayans.
It is
gotta
Marlon
go
Wayans.
to. It's
Funnily
the-
enough,
it's
it's
the logistics of this movie,
shooting
isn't
a movie
it?
like
of
this,
planning and executing this movie.
Yeah, because it never looks bad. It never looks like he's talking to somebody that isn't there.
What did you think of the actual like prosthetics and makeup? Because I mean,
Dreadful.
I thought Dawn was okay.
Dawn was okay.
Dawn was the best one.
Yeah.
Because
Which should have been the hardest one, to be
Yeah,
fair, because it's a
because
female.
he could have done more with any of the other characters.
Yeah, Ethan, he just put a wig on.
Yeah.
Jasper, he just put a wig on. Russell, he at least put a fat suit on, and Baby Pete just pushed
but
his
they
head
could
for a
have done
bed.
more. And
Yeah.
yeah. It was.
I thought they were dreadful. I thought all the characters
It
weren't
wasn't
even,
creative.
they
was
weren't
it?
even
They
good
could have-
characters.
When you think they could have done anything,
yeah, literally anything.
budget aside.
$32 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that buys you a few more prosthetics.
You
I
would
have
think
thought.
so. At least make these caricatures of people. They're just not. They're just nothing.
Yeah.
I hate it so much.
So I did say to you though, I want to put another Marlon Wayans film on the long list.
Yeah, that ain't happening. You can't. The only other Marlon Wayans films on Netflix is Naked, and I've heard of that, so I can't go on the long
It's a
list.
time loop comedy.
And it is, yeah. But I'm never doing another one.
Maybe I'll watch it in my own time.
You do that. Maybe when you win a wild card, you can use
Maybe.
it as your watch along prize.
Maybe. Well, I've won at least one already, so welcome to the club.
Shall we talk Stream Table?
Yeah,
while
let's
we're
do
here?
that.
22nd film of the season. This is.
Okay.
We've got 3 more to go. Where's this one going?
I think you only need to read out the bottom few films.
Okay, I'll read
you
out-
want to do the whole table?
No, I don't. 21 currently is Spaced Out. That's the lowest film. 20 is Buddy Games. 19 is Night Wolf. 18 is Hero the Young Man. It's there somewhere. Where's it go?
Right. So I mean,
I know where it goes.
yeah, I'm not sure where you want to put it specifically in that bottom batch. I mean, I'm being a little bit facetious and deliberately controversial
I
here,
know, yeah.
but
I've been expecting it.
personally, for me, I might just put it above Here Are the Young Men.
What?
Because that film annoyed me, and this film didn't annoy me.
This film annoyed me. No.
But I don't expect us to land it there.
Good.
But I think
There's only one place this film goes.
that's where I put it.
It isn't as bad as Spaced Out.
No.
It isn't as bad as Buddy Games. It goes there.
No, I'd have it above Night Wolf.
Okay.
I
Let's
d-
debate.
I don't care that much.
Nor do I.
I'm just...
What was... Night Wolf was the British thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty ropey.
Where are the wild cards?
No, you couldn't see anything in Night Wolf.
No, that's
At least
true.
you could see this movie. The wild cards. So we have got this one, which would appear to be bottom
Yeah.
of the wild card race.
Yeah.
You've got Still Time, which finished 14th.
Oh, it's currently 14.
Currently 14th. That is the Italian time slip movie,
Yeah.
which was Smileyton's
Smileyton's.
choice.
Yeah.
You have got To the Bone.
Yeah.
Just for that, currently in 12th, which was
Jordan
Jordan
Shenton's.
Shenton's. You have got Paradise, currently in 10th, which was Samuel Holland's wild card choice. You have got The Waterman in 4th,
Yeah.
which was my wild card choice. And just pipping that to the post in currently 3rd is your choice, which was Warriors of the Future.
Interesting. So I have officially won the wild card race for
You
season
have,
9.
yeah.
I'm quite proud of myself for that.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting to when I picked Warriors Feature. That was like a surprise to everybody, I think, how good that film is. Right, we need to settle. One side of Night Wolf or the other.
Oh, I don't care.
I don't care either. Let's just put it below it.
Okay, fine.
I could probably find a good thing to say about Night Wolf if I really tried, but I can't about this, so let's put it there.
That bit when she shot her face off.
Yes, there you go. The only entertaining thing that happened in both of these two movies.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's 20th currently out of 22 and bottom of the wildcard race. Congratulations to me for winning it.
Well done.
Thank you.
Good. So only 3 movies left
3 movies left,
this season.
which means, you know what we need to do?
Let's randomise.
We need to call Robin back from it. Robin's had a 2-week holiday.
I know.
He's been to Havana with baby Pete.
She'll be there with her feet up.
What do you want?
I just
Coming to-
don't
coming
give a
towards-
shit after this week.
Coming towards the end of the season, what would you like to
I
watch?
literally don't care.
Same.
Just give us something we can get our teeth into, please, Robin.
I'm going to press the button. Are you ready?
Yes.
He has picked a movie called Convenience.
Okay.
Ever heard of Convenience?
Never.
Okay, well, I'll tell you now, Nick. It's a comedy movie.
Okay.
2 comedy movies in a row.
Okay, fine.
It's quite old. It's from 2013.
Wow, it's
10
over
years
a-
old.
Yeah, a decade old.
And it's British.
Okay. Well, I feel like we've not done a British film for a while.
Would you like a synopsis?
Yes, please.
It's a short and sweet one. 2 convenience store robbers mess up the crime and end up working there for the rest of the night.
Okay, lovely. That's Definitely a synopsis.
That is a synopsis. That's what it says. Do you want to know who's in it?
Yes.
Rape and Facky's in it.
Okay.
Vicky McClure's in it.
Right.
Anthony Head.
Right.
And Vern Troyer.
Oh, what quite the
Randomly.
diverse cast.
Yeah.
Okay, I know nothing about this movie.
Normally, I've never heard of it.
Let's do it.
So we'll go and do that for number 23 of the season is going to be Convenient. So go and check that film out. And in the meantime, check us out on Instagram and Letterboxd at BOTS_podcast on there. Just drop us an email. Our email address is bottomofthestream@gmail.com and our website is bottomofthestream.com. On our website, you will find every episode we've ever recorded. Les stream tables. I don't know why I said it in French. All the stream tables, loads of other cool stuff, and you can even get some merch if you want to buy a Bottom of the Stream
Cereal box.
Oh, I'd love a Bottom of the Stream cereal.
Yeah,
box.
me too.
What flavour? Streamos. What flavour would they be?
Seawater.
Like salted water. You don't put
Salted
milk.
caramel.
Salted caramel, but you put water on them, not milk.
Yeah.
So yeah, do that. Where did I get to? Patreon. Head over to Patreon. Patreon.com/bottom of the stream. Over there for £5 every month, you will get early access to episodes. You will get bonus episodes. You will get a poster. You get loads of other cool stuff. And it's only £5 a month, so why wouldn't you do it? And then when you've done that, head over to the Discord. In the Discord, you will meet a wonderful group of wonderful people. Wonderful people who will talk to you about anything. We play games, we do watch-alongs, we've got all sorts of cool stuff planned for the Discord for the future, and it's just generally a great place to be. You will find the Discord link in the bottom of the show notes.
Yeah, do come and join us. It's just a great time.
It is indeed.
If you can spare a few minutes, please consider leaving us a review and a rating. Anyway, you can review or rate podcasts. We're on all of those places: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Podchaser, all the big ones, all the small ones, all the ones in between. Come and find us, please.
Please do. It's a great time. We're coming up to the end of the season as well.
I know. Nearly be Christmas.
Nearly be Christmas. That's what the end of an odd-numbered season means.
Yeah.
So yeah, do all of that. Go out and watch Convenience, and then we'll be back on Monday for The Wave and next Thursday for the movie show.
Cheers!
And bye-bye!